Hello, lovely people. Welcome back to another book chat. Still from New Zealand, although, as you can see, no longer in a quarantine hotel, which is kind of awesome. I'm going to show you a little bit actually. So, just looking that way. So, the sea is right over there. You can't quite see it through the trees from here, but you can from the other end of the deck. But I'll make you seasick if I walk you down there. And that is the lovely garden just underneath us. And there is awesome running straight down the garden and along the waterfront path, which is absolutely awesome. And there's a cool hanging chair. um, okay, but you're not here to sightsee. We're here to talk about books. So, obviously, my last month's book chat was not really a book chat. It was just kind of me go, Gobelino's latest book is out. Yay! Which I'm still feeling that, to be honest. Even a couple more weeks down the way. A few weeks, yeah. Yes, but I'm going to talk now about the books that I have read over sort of the past month. And obviously, there's way too many of those for me to actually talk about all of them. And besides which, quite a few of them are kind of eh. There was a couple that just had great concepts, got off to really, really good starts, and the writing was good, but I finished them and it was just yeah. Not exciting enough to share in all the awesome books that I read this month, basically. So instead, I'm just going to talk about my favourites since I left the UK, pretty much. So let's get started. So the first one I want to talk about is The Stranger Times by C.K. McDonnell. Okay, now if you're in the UK, there is a radio station called Absolute Radio, which is actually lots of different radio stations depending on which decade you listen to. And because I'm stuck in the past, I listen to Absolute Radio Naughties. Yeah. Anyway, but yeah, C.K. McDonnell, who's also Kame McDonnell, I think. He originally wrote under the Kame McDonnell name. He wrote a load of not straight crime novels. They always had quite a bit of humour in them. They're quite fun. I've read a few of those and I really enjoyed them. But since he wrote this book as C.K. McDonnell, he's been going on Absolute Radio and he does these little weekend bits where he comes in and he reads out three pieces of news. And one of them isn't real. And so the whole idea is that the DJs guess which one's real and you've got to guess at home and that kind of thing. And they're really fun because I love weird news. Weird news stories are the best things ever. And some of the stuff he comes up with is absolutely awesome. So this book, The Stranger Times, is about a weird newspaper, but a supernatural weird newspaper. And in the world of this book, and it's set in Manchester? Oh no, I've forgotten where it's set. Doesn't matter. Up north, UK. It's these things turn out to be real, and this woman who's just started work at this paper, The Stranger Times, finds herself pulled into actually solving a murder which has occurred with all these supernatural forces going on, which she didn't even know existed. And it's funny and it's well written. The characters are engaging, and honestly, it was brilliant. I tore through this and I absolutely loved it, and I cannot wait for the next one to come out because there is going to be a series. Yay! So, The Strange Times, C.K. McDonnell, absolutely recommend it. Romp of a story, just great fun. It does take a bit of time to get going, but it's so much fun getting to the getting going that it's worth it. So, there we go. Okay, so Artemis and Weir. Now, I read The Martian and I really enjoyed it, but the dialogue was bad. It was really bad, to the point where I kind of skimmed anything that had dialogue in it because the rest of it was so interesting and so well written. The setup was really cool, and it was definitely a book that was worth reading, and I did enjoy it. But oh man, the dialogue was bad. So I was a little bit nervous when I picked this up because I didn't really want to put myself through that again. But the dialogue is a lot better. Still a bit clunky in places, but absolutely readable. The story's good, the character's good. It's set on the moon in a permanent moon base that's there, and the main character is this young woman who has lived on the moon pretty much her entire life. and she has been trying to make a bit of money. She gets caught up in dodgy dealings, and yeah, it's excellent. It's a really good, same thing, really good adventure, really good romp. Fantastic for reading on the plane because you're just quite happily going, okay, we'll just keep going, we'll just keep going. You know, it's properly immersive fun. So yes, fun sci-fi read, Artemis and Weir. And if you too were put off by the dialogue in The Martian, fear not, it has improved. So on to the next one then. Where are we? So the next one I wanted to talk about was Mrs. Morris Meets Death, but I've lost the cover. Hang on. And this is actually a freebie by an author called Tammie Painter. And you can go and sign up for it at her website. And I met her because she signed up for my newsletter and we started chatting and I wanted to try her writing. And this is excellent. I've actually downloaded another one of her books to read next. But Mrs. Morris Meets Death, it's short story really, a little bit longer than normal short story. It's just really fun, really engaging, and I just wanted to give it a little bit of a shout out because yeah, I really enjoyed it, and so I'm expecting to enjoy the next of her books that I read as well, which is Waiting in the Kindle along with all the other mountains, because apparently even when I've got reading time, I download more than I read. Yes, I do. Right, and then the last one I'm going to talk about, it's quite sad really. I've only sort of got 4 that I really, really liked enough to want to talk about this month. And it's actually almost 2 months. Yeah, it's been a patchy reading time, which is really interesting because, you know, I had all the time in quarantine. I thought, oh, I'll be doing loads and loads of reading. I'll be doing loads of writing. I thought it was going to be this massive writing retreat. But you don't realize just quite how discombobulating quarantine is. It's being in that little hotel room and having absolutely zero contact. I mean, I guess at home I still saw my neighbours now and then, that kind of thing. But yeah, that thing of just being in the room and the only time you go out is either to get a test done or because you're doing your little daily circuits of the car park. And it wasn't a bad experience, not at all, and it was a necessary thing for me to be able to get back here. So, and it wasn't terrible, but certainly as far as focus, yeah, I found it did quite affect me. So I didn't read as much there, and then basically I've been having too much fun to actually spend that much time reading since I've been out. So there we go. But what I have been reading since I've been out has been another Lindsay Buroker box set, which is Star Kingdom. And I often find with box sets, I'll read one and then I'll go, oh, okay, that was cool. I'll get back to it, and then I kind of forget about them. Or I think with the Fat Vampire was the last box set I read, and I think I got through 4 of them, and then was like, this is just really boring, so I'm stopping. I'm currently almost at the end of the 3rd book on this, and I am doing the oh no, I don't want it to end, which is really one of the best feelings ever. So this is my sort of sci-fi. It's quite action-packed. It's a lot of fun. It doesn't get bogged down in too much unnecessary detail. You build up an idea of this sort of political situation and the technology that exists and how it got there as you work your way through the books. It's done really well. There's no massive info dumps, but also you don't feel adrift at the start of it. Whereas sometimes if I dive into something, particularly if it's quite heavy on technical detail and that sort of thing, either I feel there's too much being thrown at me or I'm not being told enough. So this is really fun, character-driven, lots of snarky humour, which she's really, really good at. Lots of good action, good, strong female characters. I was going to say various species, but no, various levels of genetic engineering. And yeah, also excellent adventures. Basically, it starts off with a roboticist who has been working, or had previously worked on these massive robots called Crushers, which are the defense of the kingdom, which is the ruling party in one particular star system. There's various star systems that are connected by these gates, which are ancient, and were originally, they think, they're not even quite sure, were originally set up by the humans who fled Earth centuries and centuries ago. They haven't found any other alien life forms, so they're pretty sure they were put there by the humans. No one knows how they work. But anyway, this roboticist Casimir is he's been working for the military. He left because he wasn't quite sure about it. living quite a normal life, and suddenly these crushes that he created, he's being chased down by two of them. He ends up on the run, hooks up with a smuggler, as you do, and everything gets more and more complicated and more out of control then. But yeah, very good, very well done. She is an awesome writer when it comes to action, humor, great friendships, and rapport between different people, between the characters. I also like that there is just really no romance in here. Lots of good friendship, and lots of people who aren't, wouldn't say flawed, but they're quirky and they're different. They've all got their own failings. So yeah, I'm thoroughly enjoying it, and I really, really don't want it to finish. So I've just gone and closed it. Star Kingdom, Lindsay Buroker. I would definitely pick that up. In fact, I'll pick up any of her books. I did pick up one other box set, which I wasn't a fan of, but it just wasn't my thing. It was more sort of what I'd call straight fantasy, normal fantasy. Her urban fantasy, Death Before Dragons, this, absolutely love them. And yes, so that has kind of been my reading. Um, yeah, so tell me what you've been reading since we last spoke. Tell me what your favourite reads of the month have been. If you've read The Martian or books like that, have you been put off trying books because of dialogue and then found them later that the writing's improved that much or something like that? So let me know about authors you've given second chances to. Let me know if you've read any of these and what you've enjoyed, and what your book recommendations to me would be for next month. Not that I need any, because it actually took me ages to find these, because I have actually managed to buy a load more books since then. And that is all from me for this month. I shall talk to you next month. Thanks very much, and see you next time. Take care out there, lovely people.